Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Unfog with Dr. Atahar Parveen. Friends, let us continue with the mathematics descriptive part questions from GPSTR 2022 question paper. So this is the 8th class from this question paper. We have made a playlist wherein you will get the previous 7 classes. So this is going to be the last class for mathematics. Then we will start for the science part from the next class. And it depends upon your response also. If you all are liking this class and if you all are writing your feedback in the comment section, then we can also give preference to what you all want. But for that you will have to let us know your response. Okay. If you are not subscribed to our channel, subscribe right now, because we will keep you updated in this channel from educational point of view also, that is maths and science classes, and more classes can be updated depending upon the request of the aspirants, as we can expect the teacher recruitment exam notification any time soon now. If you are seeing the Telegram channel, then you will be knowing that the news is circulating everywhere that any time soon we can expect the teacher recruitment exam. So friends, please take it seriously, and if you are a paid class aspirant, then you need to make your preparation a little bit faster, even if you are from GPSTR or from HSTR or from CRISE part if you are preparing, because you never know whenever the notification comes. After that you will have maximum 2 months, not more than that, and that 2 months will not be enough for your preparation. So that's why you have to start right now, so that after notification you will get time for revision also. Okay, so let us start this class with the next question. Question number 65. It is a trigonometry question. This is from heights and distances. By seeing the diagram and reading the first line only, we can find out that the question is from heights and distances. Friends, here I want to tell you one important point. I want to give you one important tip. The tip is that whenever you are preparing for mathematics, make sure to prepare chapter wise, because once you also get idea in the mind that this question belongs to that particular chapter, then also your time will be saved and you will be easily solving the question, especially in descriptive part. Okay. So the question says that two poles of equal heights are standing opposite each other on either side of the road, which is 80 meter wide. From a point between them on the road, the angles of the elevation of the top of the poles are, here they are telling, right, 60 degree, one is 60 degree, another one is 30 degree. You have to find the height of the poles. So you have to find out PQ and RS. That is the question here, right? So let the distance, full distance though is 80 meter. But then if I put this as x, this one is going to be 80 minus x, because I want to treat two triangles separately in order to use trigonometry, right? So I will use, so here I will use tan. It is the most commonly we use tan only in heights and distances, right? So tan 30 I will use, then I will use tan 60, because those are the two angles they are given here. So what is tan theta? It is opposite by adjacent. For tan 30, what is opposite? RS is opposite. What is adjacent? TS is adjacent. For tan 60, what is opposite? PQ is opposite. What is adjacent? QT is adjacent, right? So in the numerator, I will have RS upon ST for 30 degree. But here, that is what I have to find, right? Height, H. Right? So these poles are of equal heights. So if I find any one, then other one will also be same. So I am writing the alphabet H for their value, right? So whenever I take opposite side here, I write H. In the denominator for 30, I will have 80 minus x. But for 60 in the denominator, I will have x. Correct, right? But what is tan 30? 1 by root 3, right? And tan 60 is root 3, right? So this will make things easy for me. With this, my h will be equal to 80 minus x by root 3, and here my h will be equal to x root 3. Correct, right? Now because the heights are same, I can equate these both, right? Because h is same, right? Once I get the value of x, I can easily find out the value of h, because here I have two variables. One is h, one is x. Here also one is h, one is x. If I find the value of x, then I have to find only one remaining variable value, which is h. So things will become easy for me, right? So 80 minus x by root 3. I will equate this with x root 3. So I will have x into root 3 into root 3. This is equal to 80 minus x. Root 3 into root 3 is 3, right? So I have 3x is equal to 80 minus x, or 3x plus x is equal to 80, or 4x is equal to 80, or x is equal to 20. Now I can easily find out the value of h, right? What is the value of h? H is actually equal to x root 3, right? The simple one, if I take this one. Now what is my x value? 20, right? So this is going to be my h value. So in units you have to mention, don't make this mistake. In units they are given meter in the question, so your answer also will be in meters. So the height of the poles is 20 root 3 meters. So preferably it's better for you to write in the decimal point. This is 1.73, right? Root 3. So you multiply and then you write the height. That will be your answer. Okay. Why take risk? Because this is a standard thing to simplify till the possible step. That is the standard thing to be done, especially in descriptive answers. Okay. Even in multiple choice questions also, if in multiple choice question they have given 20 root 3, then well and good. But if they gave some decimal thing in the options, then you have to multiply and see. Then match with your answer. Okay. Next, question number 66. Two poles of heights 6 meter and 11 meter are stand vertically on a plain ground. If the distance between their feet is 12 meter, find the distance between their tops. Now don't get confused from heights and distances for this question. Only because two poles of heights are given, it is not a question from heights and distances, because they are not at all talking about angles here. The height is given, the distance is told to find, right? So here you have to just use Pythagoras theorem. Then your answer will be there, easily you can find out. So two poles are there, AB and CD. One pole is 11 meter. They have given in the question it is 11 meter. Another one is 6 meter. Now distance between their feet is 12 meter. Now clearly these poles are of different heights, right? One is like this, another is like this. I have to find the distance between their tops. So this I have to find. So AC I have to find, right? Now if this is 12 meter, this is also going to be 12 meter only, right? Because two poles are straight only. Whatever the distance is there here will be here also. But the distance here, this I have to find out, right? But this is going to be equal to this only, because it is a vertically standing poles are there, right? Now this is 12 meter I got. This it will be 11 minus 6. Correct, right? So this will be 5 meter. So now I have 12 meter and 5 meter. I have to apply Pythagoras theorem. That's it. If I apply Pythagoras theorem, so my AC square will be equal to EC square plus AE square. So if I apply, then I should get the answer here. Okay. So you also calculate and tell me whether you are also getting 13 meters or not. Next, question number 67. A well having diameter 3 meter and 14 meter deep is dug. The earth taken out of it has been spread evenly all around in the shape of a circular ring of width 4 meter to form an embankment. Find the height of the embankment. See, they are talking about the well and the embankment. Embankment means around the well they made certain sort of a platform using the earth or the soil which was there inside the well. While digging, what all came out, no, they used that only to make the platform. Now they are telling that the well diameter is 3 meter. So entire diameter like this. This entire diameter is 3 meter. Okay. So here if I see that entire diameter is this. That is 3 meter. Okay. And the depth of the well is 14 meter. and that circular ring out of which that embankment is made, right, using that soil. So for that the width is 4 meter. So this from here it is 4 meter. Now what will be the thing from the center then? Here it is 3 by 2, right? Because the diameter is 3 meter, so radius will be 3 by 2 meter, right? So what will be the width then total from the center of the well? That is going to be equal to 3 by 2 plus 4, right? So let me write here. First radius R1. This we are talking about the well. What is the radius? 3 meter diameter means radius will be 3 by 2 meter. Then I am talking about the radius of the embankment. So I will write EMB. Okay. So this is going to be equal to the radius of the well plus the width of the embankment from the well, right? So this is 4 meter. So this is going to be equal to 11.2 meter. Talking about the heights. Small h I have to find because I don't know. They are telling to find the height of the embankment. And capital H for the well, it is 14 meter they have given. Clear, right? Now when we talk about the well, we think about the cylinder. So we are talking about the volume here because we have removed the soil from the well and we have put it outside. So I have to talk about the volume here. So volume of well will be equal to volume of embankment, right? So it is pi r square h, right? For well it will be pi r1 square capital H, and for embankment it will be pi. What is the radius now for that? It is r2 minus r1. Correct, right? For embankment, full entire r2 minus r1. See, this is entire r2 minus I have to do this r1. If I do this minus this, then only I will get the proper radius of the embankment, because this is the outer radius and this is the inner radius. If I do entire thing minus this, then I will get the radius of the embankment. Correct, right? And here the height is small h. That only I have to find. Okay. Now this pi I will remove now to remove the headache. And what is my R1? 3 by 2 whole square, right? So 3 by 2 whole square into capital H. In the right hand side I have R2 11 by 2 minus R1. This is 3 by 2 and small h is I have to find out. Here capital H is 14, right? They have given in the question. So I will write 14 meters here. So I have 9 by 4 into 14. In the right hand side I will have, this is also square, sorry, this is also square, right? Everything square is there here. So in the right hand side I will have 121 by 4 minus 9 by 4 into small h. So what I will get here in the left hand side I will have 2 2s are 2 7s are. So I will have 9 into 7 in the left hand side. I will send the 2 in the right hand side. Here I will have 112 divided by 4 into h. So 2 1s are 2 2s are. Then 2 1s are 2 5s are 10, 2 6s are. Then 7 1s are 7 8s are. So my h value will be 9 by 8 meters. That is the height of the embankment. Okay, clear, right? You understood the concept of the outer radius, right? So the outer radius minus inner radius will be the radius of the embankment. Let me make it more easy for you. If you are not understanding why we are subtracting R2 and R1 here for the radius of the embankment. See, the embankment is a hollow cylinder. It is not a solid cylinder. What we are doing here, first from here till here we are taking the radius. What is that radius now for us? It is 3 by 2 plus 4, right? That entire radius minus from here till here we are taking, which is 3 by 2. So if I subtract that both, then only I will get this radius. So that's why I am doing R2 minus R1 while finding the volume for the embankment. Okay, clear, right? Next, question number 68. It is based on construction. Construct a quadrilateral ABCD with AB 5 cm, BC 6 cm, CD 4.5 cm, AD 6 cm and AC 6.5 cm. So in this type of question, first you have to draw a rough diagram in the margin. Then you can write along with the steps. First to draw BC 6.5 cm. Then you draw angle B 75 degree, then cut BA for 5 cm, draw angle C 120 degree, then cut CD to 4.5 cm, then join AD. Okay, so this is your required quadrilateral. This also take it as an assignment to draw, and you can share your photograph of the construction in our Telegram group. You will get the link in the description below this video. Okay. I have told all about construction in the previous class in detail, so that's why I am going for next question. Question number 69. This is again, you can call it as a statistics or you can also call it as a graph, because the question is convert the following frequency table, distribution, into less than type and draw its ogive. So first you draw the table. The class interval you write, and then you clearly write which is less than what. This is less than 20, less than 40, less than 60, less than 80, less than 100, less than 120. Frequency they have given in the question, right? Then you write the cumulative frequency. How you write the cumulative frequency? Add first frequency to second. First one to will be as it is 8 you write. For second one you have to add. So you get 8 plus 12, 20. Again you add 12 plus 18. You get 30. Again 30 plus 8. You get 38. Again you add. Till now all this you have to add till 16. You get 54. Again all this you add till 10. You get 64. Again all this you have to add till 6. So you get 70. So this way you got cumulative frequency. Now you have to take the graph paper, then you write x-axis as the less than thing. This is your x-axis value, and in y-axis you plot cumulative frequency. So for less than 20, you can write the scale also. So marks are given for scale also. Here scale on y-axis is taken, and 2 cm it is taken as 10 units. Okay. So start plotting for less than 20. First one, for less than 20, what is the cumulative frequency? 8, right? So here it is like this. Then for less than 40, cumulative frequency is 20. So here it should be 60, 80, 100 and then 120. Okay. So for less than 60, how much it is there? 38. So this is for less than 60. Then for less than 80, it is 54. Here it will come. Then for less than 100, it is 64. Here it will come. Then for less than 120, it is 70. It will come here. Okay. It should come like this. So then join these. So this is your required ogive. Okay. Clear, right? Next, question number 70. So this is also graph question. Solve x plus y minus 5 is equal to 0 and 2x plus y minus 7 is equal to 0 graphically. So you have to first solve the linear equation. What is the linear equation given here? It is x plus y minus 5 is equal to 0. Then 2x plus y minus 7 is equal to 0. Then you change the signs here, right? This is how you calculate, right? So minus x plus 2 is equal to 0 or x is equal to 2. So put this x is equal to 2 here. X plus y minus 5 is equal to 0. 2 plus y minus 5 is equal to 0 or y is equal to 5 minus 2. So y will become 3 now. Now you can draw a table for x plus y is equal to 5 and another one will be for the second equation 2x plus y minus 7 is equal to 0, or to make it easy you can write like this 7 minus 2x. So here go on putting the values. So x and y. For x write 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. And if you put x as 0, y will be 5. In this equation put x as 1, your y will be 4. Put x as 2, your y will be 3. Similarly here also you have to make it like this, x and y. So write 1, 0, 1, 2. Put it here in this equation. If x is 0, y will be 7. If x is 1, y will be 5. If x is 2, y will be 3. So now let's plot. You have to write your own scale. Okay. Now here, just to make you understand, I am plotting the graph. So for equation x plus y is equal to 5. X is 0. So this is 0, right? Y is 5. Here it will come. X is 1. Y is 4. X is 2. Y is 3. The next equation for this. X is 0. Y is 7. X is 1. Y is 5. Here it will come. Then x is 2. Y is 3. Here it will come. So this is the common point where it is joining. So this 2, 3 is the common point between both the lines. See here, this is also 2, 3 and this is also 2, 3. Here only your lines will join. So this was your first line. You can write x plus y is equal to 5, and this was your second line. You can write 2x plus y minus 7. So where it is joining, it is joining at 2, 3. So this is how you are solving. So value of x will be 2 and value of y will be 3. That will be your answer here. So okay friends, I have tried my best to explain everything in detail, especially the graphs and everything. I really hope that this class helps you, and if you like the class, then please respond, write in the comment section, hit the like button, share among other aspirants and your friends, and let us know how you like the class, so that we can continue and complete this question paper. And friends, as we all know, we can expect the recruitment of GPSTR, HSTR and CRISE anytime soon. So that's why on request of many aspirants, we have extended the last date to take the completed courses, the batches of HSTR, GPSTR and CRISE, because these courses are already completed. They are ready and you will get full courses at a time when you enroll. So you have 24/7 access to full courses at your convenience. You can utilize the course, you can watch the classes, you can use the notes, the study material, the worksheets and everything as per your convenience 24/7 till your exam date. So this decision has been taken purely based upon the requests of aspirants, because what aspirants feel is very important for us. Aspirants were requesting us, telling that madam, it will be tough for us to join a new batch. So that's why we have stopped the new batches for meanwhile, and we are helping aspirants to take the full batches at a time. And also one more thing I wanted to remind you, that as soon as the notification comes, you will have maximum 2 months to prepare, and at that time we will also be giving the revision classes for paid classes aspirants. So paid classes aspirants need to complete the regular courses which you are taking now or which you have already taken. Try to complete them by the notification, because after notification we will plan for good revision classes. We will also plan for many other things which will be making your preparation much more easier, and we will stay with you till your exam date and help you in as many possible ways as we can. Okay friends, for that you should also take things seriously and please start your preparation rigorously. Thank you. All the best. Bye.